Hello, everybody. Welcome to Just Upright. My name is Gina Ruder. I go by Jing, like Jingle Bells. I'm a physical therapist, and Just Upright is the YouTube channel that I use to share my knowledge as a physical therapist to the world. And if you check out my other videos, I also discuss depression and fall prevention. Okay, so today we're going to discuss, is crossing your legs bad for you? So there's so many people who cross their legs. You see that all the time on TV, celebrities, hosts, they're crossing their legs. I work in nursing homes and I see people crossing their legs, and I will let you know what are the negative effects of this harmless habit of yours if you're crossing your legs. So, before we go on, um, just a quick introduction to the books that I have written. Practical tips for therapists prior to migrating or starting US practice. So this can be for foreign trained therapists or newly graduated therapists, how to prepare, mentally for the therapy world, rehabilitation world. The second one is PT Path to US, a foreign trained physical therapist is a step-by-step guide to United States application to be a licensed physical therapist here in the US, because if you're a foreign trained therapist, you know how hard it is and very confusing to go through the process of applying to become a licensed physical therapist here in the US. So this book is for you. They are available at Amazon.com. So you can just type my name and my books will pop out. And this is my pride and joy. My third book, not my last book, my third book that I just published, and this is called Just Upright, just like the name of this channel, practical tips to improve posture, balance, and decrease fall risk. So this is dear to my heart because I am very passionate about fall prevention. And actually this contains useful information for everybody. You can learn a lot from it, whether you're part of the general public or you're a therapist. And we'll discuss practical exercises, and the things that you think that are harmless for you may be harmful for you in the long run. So if you're 20 years old or above, you can learn something from this. And there's also a corner here for the clinician, evidence-based backup information throughout the book. So, and don't forget to hit subscribe down below. Subscription is for free. So you just have to um, sign in to YouTube using your Gmail account. It will not allow you with your other email account. So you must have a Gmail account, and it's easy to make a Gmail account, just like what you did before with your other email. So use your Gmail account, sign in, and then that's the only way that you can hit the subscribe button. And it will just, when you hit subscribe, it just simply means that whenever I make new videos and you open up your YouTube, it will suggest on the general homepage, the videos that I make. So you don't need to really pay for anything if you subscribe. Some people think subscription for YouTube has a fee, but it doesn't. Okay, so let's get down to business. So I always want to explain, just a brief overview of the muscles. So I believe if you understand what we're talking about and why I'm asking you to do something, if you understand what I'm asking you to do, your ability to really follow through the recommendation will be a lot better. So this is just the overview of the muscles. So the hip in general has three groups of muscles surrounding it. The front part this is what we call the hip flexors, and maybe you hear that word especially for exercising. The videos that you watch, hip flexor are the group of muscles here in front of your leg. Okay, The next one is your hip abductors. So this is the gluteus medius here at the side of your hip. So specifically, I really like discussing this muscle at the side of the hip. It's because this is an important muscle for balance. And you would think why it's at the top, at the hip area, not the foot area. How can it be for balance? So as you can see in this picture, so this is the left side from the back. This is the left side, and this is the left gluteus medius. So in what we call, if you're standing on the one foot, this is like weight bearing on one leg. And in therapy, we call this like a closed kinematic or kinematic kinetic chain. So the function of this teeny bitty muscle at the side of your hip is to actually level your pelvis, lift the other pelvis so that it will be in the, horizontal as you make a step. As you clear the other foot to make a step forward, for a few seconds, you're standing on one leg. And this is the small muscle that will allow the pelvis to be level like this. If that muscle is weak, just like here in this picture, on this picture, you would see that there is a pelvic drop on the other side. So your balance is really impaired when you're standing, even for a few seconds on one leg. And it's hard to clear that foot because the pelvis is dropping on that side of your hip. The opposite side is dropping. So that is the reason why this muscle, which is, by the way, if you had like hip replacement and they excise the side of your hip, this muscle is the primary muscle that gets weak. And you really have to strengthen this muscle, especially after surgery. All right, so the next one is the muscles at the back of the hip, and maybe you hear this more than other muscles. This is the gluteus max or the GMAX. So this is massive here at the back of your hip, So this gluteus maximus is actually very important to extend or straighten up your hip. So in this picture, you can see, this is a lady that's standing up straight. And then this is the usual picture I see in most patients in nursing home, So in this posture, we call this stoop posture. You can see the back muscles here will be really, really stretched. And when you stretch a muscle for a long, long time, it gets really, really weak. So part of the muscles that get weak is this GMAX. So anything that you can actually do to strengthen up this muscle here behind your hips and the back muscles will help your posture. And then in anything that helps your posture will help your balance as well. So this is a picture of the legs crossed, and this is a picture I got from the internet. This is a good representation. So this is uncrossed. This is the back with uncrossed feet flat on the uncrossed leg with feet flat on the floor. This is the back with legs crossed at the knees. And this is one foot up on the knee. So as you can see, when you're crossing your leg, your shoulders not level, your hips not level, and then you're creating like the curvature of your spine. So that is that goes to show you if you're dealing with any neck or back problems or conditions, crossing your leg is not a good idea because basically you're stressing your spine. It's not in a good alignment. So when you cross your leg, one part of your spine is actually, it's like a C. So one part of the spine is stretched and the other side is tight. So it's not balanced, it's not straight, it stresses your spine as a whole. So when you're sitting, the pelvis is like the foundation of your spine, and any tilting or misalignment of the pelvis can cause misalignment or malalignment of the spine while you're sitting with your legs crossed. So it is not unusual if you have neck and back issue and you continue to cross your leg, that it perpetuates the condition. It doesn't help at all because of the abnormal posture or curvature of the spine when your legs are crossed. So if you don't believe what I'm saying, these are some of the evidence that I found in the internet. So this is 2016, Lee et al. It means like Lee and the other researchers, et al. Means like etc. Found in their study of sitting with right leg crossed causes imbalance of the trunk muscles and torsion of the pelvis. Lee J.H. in 2011, study suggested that crossing of legs may cause malalignment of the pelvis. Diamond et al. In 2007 in their study found that crossing the leg at knee in sitting causes increase in blood pressure. And actually, I saw other researchers that had the same result, okay? But if you cross the leg at the ankle level, it doesn't increase the blood pressure. So what I'm thinking here is if you're crossing your legs, you know, you're putting direct pressure to the arteries, and it might be the one that is causing the blood pressure to be higher. Sneedgers et al. In 2006 found that crossing legs causes sacroiliac joint instability. So the sacroiliac
I
is
forgot to
basically the
mention that when you're crossing your leg, every time you cross your legs, so the muscles at the side of the hips gets lengthened. You're lengthening it and it's being stretched. So any muscle that is being stretched for a long period of time gets weak. And then when you cross your leg, the inner muscles of your thighs gets tight. So I have seen this, and I am seeing this especially among older people who don't exercise, live a sedentary lifestyle, always sitting and crossing their legs. When they stand up, they're actually knock-kneed. That's the posture. And these people are the fallers.
hip flexors. Usually they are not weak, but rather they are tight. In general population, they are tight unless you had a stroke or nerve injury. Can be weak, of course, but in the general population, since we sit a lot, you know, the hip flexors can be tight, and this is one practical way to stretch the hip flexor. So you lie at the edge of your bed. Of course, be careful not to fall, and then you dangle one leg at the side, so causing this front muscles of the at the in front of your hip to be stretched like this. So when you're stretching, it is good to maintain that position like a minute hold. The longer that you hold it, the better. And of course, do it to the other side as well. But you have to remember to tighten up your tummy, your core. You know, let the core be engaged. Do not arch your back. Okay, so you have to remember when you do any of this exercise, it should not create any or cause any sharp shooting pain. You know, if you do any exercise that causes you tremendous amount of pain, you have to stop that exercise. And of course, you have to consult your doctor if that exercise will be safe for you. Okay. So that is one for hip flexors. So usually what we need for hip flexors are stretching, and there's so many ways to stretch that. This is just one of the practical ways you can stretch it. And then the practical exercise for the side of the hip. So the hip abductors or the gluteus medius that we discussed a while ago, that's very important for your balance, especially when you're standing on one leg. But you would, and I discussed this in my book, and people will look at me like I have 10 heads and say, I never stand on one leg. Why would you ask me to stand on one leg? That is true. Maybe the person doesn't stand on one leg, but when you trip over, that few seconds that you can support yourself standing on one leg because you trip over. So that few seconds that you can support yourself with one leg can mean the difference of you breaking a bone, landing, falling, or breaking a bone, or keeping your body straight, standing and not falling. So it is extremely important to strengthen this side of the hip, the muscles at the side of the hip. So you can do that laying down, just like in the picture, keeping everything straight. And most people with weakness of the gluteus medius, they will kick, but the leg will be more forward, and then they will try to kick up. So be careful not to bend the hip forward, because that means that the hip flexor or the muscles in front of your hip are trying to help out by bending the hip forward. So when you do this exercise, it should be all the way straight and the toes are pointing forward, and then move it towards the ceiling all the way straight. No bending of the hips, it should be neutral, straight, aligned with your body and trunk. Okay, so this one is sidestepping. So sidestepping is good for you. So if you're going for a walk, and then part of your walk, do sidestepping, as long as you feel safe and it is safe to do that in that environment. So do sidestepping with or without resistance. So this one, in the picture, you can see there's elastic band around the ankle area, ankle joints. So, but warning, if you do this, this might stress the knees. So if you're having knee problems, this is not ideal. I usually put the band around the distal thigh or above the knee, okay? Above the knee or down below here, okay? At the lower portion of your thigh area. So that's where I put the band and I ask my patient to sidestep. So this is one good way to strengthen up those hip abductors. And if you are a little bit advanced, and my patient, for my high level patient, I ask them to hold on and use the first step of the stairs to do sidestepping on just one step. So step up sideways, right leg, left leg, and then down again, and then step up sideways again and down again. So sidestepping up, okay? And then for gluteus maximus, or the muscles at the back of your hips, this bridging exercises, I love this exercise. I even do it myself because I know the benefits of it. It will make you stand up straighter, stronger, and this is very useful if you have back problem as well. So as long as there's no pain, sharp shooting pain, you tolerate the exercise, this is good for your posture, so it will make you stand up straighter. So this is what we call the bridging exercise. So you lay down flat on your back, hands on the side, knees are bent and feet flat on the bed or floor, and then you lift as high as you can and move your your pelvis up and down. So lift up and then go back down, lift, go back down. Do it 10 to 20 times per set, and you can do it 2 to 3 sets. So I always tell my patient, if you incorporate this with your routine, like before you get up in the morning and before you go to bed, if you incorporate that in your routine, the tendency of you doing it most of the time will be higher than you're walking around the house, and then you will say, oh, I have to go to bed and exercise. So it will be easier if you incorporate that in your morning routine and before going to bed routine. So another way that is good for you, as long as it is safe, the environment is safe, and you support as needed, is to walk backwards. So as I always tell my patient, we always walk forward. We rarely step backwards. And stepping backward is good to stimulate and activate that hip extensors, or the gluteus. This is gluteus, this should be S. Gluteus maximus muscles at the back of your hip.
Summarize everything. Crossing your legs, not good idea because your spine is not in a good alignment and your pelvis is not in a good alignment. It's not level. It's tilted when you cross your leg. So if you're suffering from neck, back problems, crossing your legs can actually aggravate the conditions that you have. And then, based on research, crossing your leg can increase your blood pressure. So, if you're having hypertension, or high blood pressure, it's not going to do you any good to cross your legs. And then it causes muscle imbalance. It makes the muscles at the side of your hips, the hip abductors, weak, and the inner part of your thighs, the muscles there gets tight. So there's a muscle imbalance. So as I've discussed, the muscles at the side of the hips are very important for balance, especially if you're standing on one leg even for a few seconds. So the weaker the hip abductors, the gluteus medius are, the higher risk for fall you are in.
References, if you want to check it out, these are the references that I use for this presentation. So if you want a one-on-one online coaching to improve your posture, your balance, decrease the fall risk, or if you're a therapist and you want a mentorship program, you can visit my website. It is http colon this is justupright.us. And then if you have any question, clarification, suggestion, justuprightllc@gmail.com. Okay, so thank you for watching and stay blessed.